Yeah, I have a question. Being an engineer, I have a question about how eco-friendly your designs actually are. And particularly, I mean, the first speaker. I don't really know anything about radiant heating panels and all the other heating systems or air conditioning systems that you suggested. But are these?
I'm not sure if I understood correctly. Are you saying do friendly designs actually work?
No, I mean, are friendly designs for ASD also friendlier designs for the environment? In the sense, do they emit less CO2? That's my question.
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
Do your designs have a lower... do your heating and cooling designs, lighting designs, have a lower carbon footprint
right.
than conventional designs?
Right. I understand you now. So are they friendly towards the environment? Well, that's something that we would do on any building, whether it's for autism or not. We have, certainly in the UK, where I work, and other places in Europe that I'm aware of, we all have very high standards of meeting sustainability, and we have a scoring system so that you can rate a building excellent, very good, good, etc., etc., etc. And these points are all gained on features of the design in terms of alternative energy, carbon footprint, and all the things you've just talked about. And when we make planning applications for permission to build a building, we have to submit a sustainability report with the application. So it's in the project basically from day one.
I asked the table if there is something that you can tell more, that you feel that you didn't tell, something that you want to say. No.
Could go on all night. Or
There's a question over there, please.
Good evening to everybody. I really want to know if public institutions, for example in Spain, who are responsible for building the majority of these facilities, care about these things that you were mentioning before. The public governments in European countries or in America, for that matter, really care about the color of the rooms, the kind of corridors that must be built, etc. Or if this is only something that is really important for private institutions. You know what I mean? I am interested in knowing that. In your experience, your clients are basically private institutions or also public institutions, or for public institutions, this is something that is not important right now.
Well, in the United States, I think it depends. So the Lincoln Oaks facility that I showed, the 14 apartments, that the architect was a wheelchair rider, and so he was very insistent on certain things being incorporated into that. So even though it had public funding, there were things that were incorporated that, if that hadn't been the issue, would never have been put in. So I think it really depends on the architect and how that relationship goes, or the developer if it's not a public project, or even if it is. So the Hallmark Community Solutions used public funding for all of those group homes, and they were very insistent that certain things would be done, and so they were done. So it really depends on the developer or the architect and their motivation and insistence. And the way they work the budget, ultimately, how clever they are.
So I would add that it is undoubtedly important, but the building itself will not perform miracles. It can be a wonder of architecture. It won't perform miracles if the right attitude is not there, if the right staff, if the right training is not there. There's a whole range of conditions that need to be working together, articulated. And in that case, if that works well, then the building will perform a very huge role in all the process, but it won't perform miracles on its own.
For me, the problem is that during construction, nobody thought about autism. We have done our research in a new hospital. So the costs are almost the same, with a better or a better signal, sign and color, more or less as the same. Nobody usually have thought about autism or disability or something like that. This is the question. Because if some people can think before, I think that many problems are less.
Yes, one question. Do you know if there is somebody who's working for Euronorm, especially for handicap or autism in construction? For norm, yeah, Euronorm. Eurocode.
Sorry, are you asking if we know anybody who's working specifically for handicap?
Yeah, for the norm in Europe.
Well,
yeah.
all, certainly as far as I'm concerned, all our buildings would be designed to accommodate anybody with physical disability and anybody who relies on a wheelchair. That is common practice. It's covered by legislation in the UK and pretty generally throughout Europe. So the buildings that I showed you on the screen, although I didn't actually point out those facilities, they were all there. And that would be taken as standard practice across the board.
Thank you.
Solamente vorrei farvi riflettere su un aspetto che è emerso anche nella sessione precedente, cioè probabilmente bisognerebbe andare verso quello che si diceva, il concetto del design for all, cioè la nostra cultura in qualche modo, cioè il design inclusivo, il design per tutti, quindi il colore pastello non dà fastidio al soggetto autistico, ma non dà fastidio neanche, tra virgolette, al soggetto, chiamiamolo così, normale. Quindi laddove è possibile percorrere il design for all sarebbe il caso di percorrerlo. Poi ci si ferma a un certo punto, ovviamente, perché ogni soggetto, se noi pensiamo non solamente all'autismo, pensiamo all'Alzheimer, pensiamo a tanti problemi, hanno poi delle specificità. Però si sta andando verso questo, anche nell'oggetto normale, cioè nell'oggetto nel cellulare, cioè l'oggetto friendly, facilmente usabile da tutti. Quindi probabilmente un domani, buttando così una pietra in mezzo al lago, si arriverà al design for all, quindi al mondo senza barriere, quindi un mondo per tutti, e poi laddove, quindi usufruibile per tutti, e laddove, e anche lo spazio ovviamente, e poi ovviamente l'approfondimento sulle categorie specifiche. È ovvio che questo non può non essere fatto, però io penso si andrà tra molti anni in questa direzione.
So if there is no question, I close the session, and I want to thank you very much to the participants, to the chairs, to the table. It was very interesting session. It is my sorrow not to be here for one more hour, because we had so much to tell about this, so much to tell about the laws in Europe and the new laws for residencies, and so, because sometimes the laws are made for people with disabilities in a general way. So they think about wheelchairs and they don't intend that people with autism don't have those problems specially. So sometimes they are made for when there is a stigma with disability means wheelchair. So, so for autistic people, for persons with autism, it's not the case. So, for instance, in Portugal, the new laws are so strict and so made for people with motor disabilities that we cannot build those beautiful things that we are seeing there. I was seeing those and I said they were all, they didn't pass in the city council because the laws are very strict but it is, perhaps they will change. And the European laws too are viewing those things too. They are coming to that, so it's our role to fight a bit against that, because people with autism have another kind of needs that other people with disabilities. So thank you very much. Thank you to everybody.